on this computer. Hello, welcome
Hi.
to Tales
from the Shed.
from the Shed. That's the
From
word.
the Shed. Tales from the Shed. She'd forgotten where we were.
I did.
Obviously.
I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
that's right.
I'm in one as well. I like to call it a log cabin, but it's a shed.
I keep meaning to do log cabin. But it's actually, this is built, and you can't see the outside, but it's kind of blue and white, and it's beach colour.
That's like mine.
And it's a hexagonal one.
Sorry,
and
guys, we're having a shed conversation.
I'm not going to have a shed. I'm going to have a beach hut. Has it been called a beach hut? No, it's still a shed.
So this is Tales from the Sheds, in fact.
Tales from the Sheds.
So yeah,
with guests in the shed.
With guests in the shed.
Guests
so
in the shed.
We know it because he talked to Catherine before, who's a financial advisor, and we talked about her work that she does being nosy into people's lives so she can help them. But also then we started to talk about, you have recently done this kind of qualification looking at helping people get out of financial abuse, and your survivor's guide, which is brilliant. But then we started to kind of have that thought about, so what happens if you have made that decision, essentially you think that you need to go, but you were saying sometimes people fear they're going to be destitute, but they don't actually see beyond that. So about restarting it. So maybe we could start there about how could you think about rebuilding?
Yeah, definitely. I think as women, you mentioned menopause earlier, and as women, we have time off to raise family. We have time off to look after elderly relatives. We have time off menopause wise if we're ill and we don't want to work, etc. And actually, it then puts us sometimes at a disadvantage to our male counterpart because they're potentially earning more. They're growing their pensions further. I mean, me and Matt, I was part-time when the kids were little. So Matt effectively has got a higher pension value than I have. So I think quite often we're in that situation where we think, oh, we can't leave because we're relying on the other person to be able to, in essence, survive our financial life. And it doesn't always have to be that way, I think. And Anne, you mentioned obviously people can spend all the money in an abusive relationship. You might have a bank card, they might give you an allowance. So then you're thinking, I've got no money, I can't leave because I've got no car, I've got nowhere to live, I've got this, that, and the other. But I guess that's where, as a financial advisor, we can step in and aid and assist. As I said to you earlier, I specialise in pensions. Pensions are quite often not thought about. They're popped in a drawer. They're thought about for years to cut. You get the statement, don't you, in your drawer? You go, oh, hello, that's fine. Put it in there. What's for dinner? And quite often there's things like that that could aid people when leaving. Now, I know there's age ranges in taking pensions, but in essence, if we've got somewhere to start, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't leave. There are options.
Yeah, and I think it's getting the truth from this, as you say, like using this and looking at that, because when we're talking about abusive relationships, it is very rarely that somebody uses just a very small part of that relationship. So they have already lost their power base.
Yeah,
they haven't just been money restricted. They've been told that they've got no ability. They've been told they would never manage. They've been told that they are reliant. So they've learned these things all the way through. So it's really nice that they can come somewhere and get the truth of it.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, once then the truth can be understood, and as we were speaking before about they feel like they've got nowhere to turn because they've had this power exerted on them. I think once you can just talk to someone that is separate from that relationship or separate from your family dynamic. And I often say to clients, I'm obviously empathetic with my clients, but I can take the emotion out of it. Obviously, I'm obviously an emotional person. I've got my family of my own, so I feel and breathe and feel that journey with my clients. But when I do that job, my brain is right. What can I do? How can I fix it? We need to get from A to B, and what do I need to do to aid my client in getting to that position, if that makes sense?
And I think it's quite interesting because I've got a couple of women that are in really, really awful relationships, but they are a little bit older. One in particular is in her 70s now, and she's absolutely, it's been 60 years she's been married, and she has absolutely no power, nothing. And she said, well, I can't possibly leave. And that's her starting point. Now, it would be nice just to give somebody the confidence. And if somebody hears that today, it would be so nice that you can go, just find find out.
And that's the thing, we can't change people's minds. So if they talk to me and they decided not to, it would break my heart, but you can't change people's minds. But if we always say, don't we, what's the saying, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
If clients ask that one question, I give them the answer, and then they go, oh, I go, I've done my job, you know. And people often go to me, how much do I owe you? You know, and obviously as I can aid clients, people do pay obviously for my service. But if I've answered one question and that was a completely free conversation, clients go, oh, how much do I owe you? Nothing. I've done my job, and I have known that you are now in that position of knowledge that you can go away and do something about it. So it's, and again, I guess as well, coming back to that, people are often scared that we're going to cost a fortune. We have conversations with clients. We don't charge to have a conversation.
But also, I understand it's kind of like my husband has a business. We have an accountant, and they said an accountant will save you more money than you spend on your accountant.
And that is the thing. And my husband said something really interesting the other day, actually, because I think we're very British and we always get nervous about talking about fees and charges. And I don't like it because I just like doing my job. But I have to get paid because the kids need feeding and they like an holiday. So I have, you know, there is an element of me having to get paid. But my husband said the other day, yes, you might pay me if you did an ISA with me, but you are in essence employing me. I am your employee. So if you then have a question about something else, I'd hope you would pick the phone up or text me and go, oh, just asking you about this one. It might not have anything to do with what I've done for you, but if it's financial, that's what I'm there for. So like you said, it's about that aiding clients to be in that better position. Yes. But like you said, we often do, people go, thank God I found you, because yes, I paid for you, but you've sorted my life out, you know.
It's definitely having that sort of situation.
And I think it is interesting because I don't think it's just women, but I think they do say that finances can cause one of the main issues in relationship breakdown.
Absolutely.
And it's because people don't talk about it, so we don't want to talk about it because it seems to be embarrassing, or it's uncomfortable, or then you have to realize that one person has more than the other person. And you know, and I know so many people, it's quite interesting to me because I've always had a joint account, because I've just we'll just have one overdraft and pay one lot of bank charges rather than, you know, a number. But I also know other people that separate it, and they have a joint account but they also have their own accounts, and I'm kind of going, why? You know, but, you know,
I'll tell you why, because what's ours is mine.
That's actually quite a lot of clients that I have, because we're a diverse nature of being now, as we say, blended family. Quite often it's second marriages, third marriages. Obviously, nicely, I've been with my husband a long time, so it's just first marriage, thank goodness, and hopefully it'll stay that way. But we have a joint account. There's no argument because the money goes in and we do it, and there's no row about it. But absolutely, quite often, and I'm the same as you then, Alison. I almost don't understand. I think, oh, well, I find that a little bit strange, you know, but everyone works different. But when it's almost second or third marriage, people are quite wanting to hold on to their own money, if that makes sense. But that almost comes back to, as Anne was saying, about abusive relationships. We don't know that second marriage, that first one might have had that element of control, which is why then the second one, they go, no, that's my money.
Or it's quite interesting that the opposite. So I've got somebody that just has no value for money and will spend every penny. And if I wanted to spend every penny, it's just, so it's not me, it's mine. It's like, spend it all, and then you end up in debt and debt.
I know.
And then you can end up with somebody who isn't very financially grown up. So it's nice to sort of give them their play money.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where it all intertwines. And there's not one size fits all. There's not one wrong or right.
But I do think there's a very much, it has to be, you almost have to prove your love with a joint bank account. Whereas actually, for some people it's perfect and it's brilliant, and that works because
always work for us.
And you both come from a very similar sort of background. And other people, it's either abusive. But I think if it doesn't work, it's nice just to have that openness as well.
And I agree. And quite often, I mean, I like I said, I was at the bank before, so I've got clients who've now nicely come with me to my new role. And there's a lady and gentleman, and they don't discuss, well, we can talk about his in front of her, but in front of her, he has to take the dog out for a walk. And it's been the case since I've known them a long time, and it's always been the case. But obviously he's going to inherit hers if anything happens, and vice versa. So it shouldn't really matter. But she says he spends more than she does, and she don't want him to know, to go, oh, should we buy this, or should we buy, let's have a new camper van, or you know.
That's it. And I think it is definitely that sort of, it's okay, it works for us. But the danger side is, we were talking about a little bit earlier, it's kind of like, because I love you so much, it's lovely to have the money in the bank, let's sell your car. Because I love you so much, I don't want you to worry about money, this is your little allowance. Because I love you so much. And I think they're your red flags, as opposed to, we're really comfortable, both of us. I'm comfortable taking the dog for a walk, I'm comfortable having a limit, let's just keep it.
But I guess that's where I guess blow my trumpet, because I can help with that. You know, it's having those conversations, understanding the dynamic, and trying to open up those channels of communication. And I guess actually I have clients that have a bit of a tiff where I'm stuck in the middle, and that's where my counselling almost, I need to find another qualification, but almost when they have a bit of a tiff, but with me perhaps in the middle, I can then appease both.
Well, I think it's very interesting that we've come kind of full circle. That you started off saying I'm a bit of a counsellor, and you think okay, and you can see that you can spot these red flags. You can say, are you really comfortable with just having one car, both of you? Do you feel a little bit reliant? How does that feel? You can do a little bit of that sort of place, and you never know, I never know what ticks somebody from being in a bad relationship. It can be the smallest thing has helped somebody move. And I think you're right, you're that counsellor, but you also can pick up the pieces. And we're very interested to hear about your survivor's guide. We're going to put it up again with this video, because I think I've got a couple of people I'm going to send your details to, and hopefully people will find you here, and even
in the shed we're in,
even other counsellors to refer As a counsellor, we do get a bit stuck when somebody says, but I won't be able to manage, and you think, well, I'm not your financial planner, I'm not your I'm not your life coach.
No,
but I can tell you this. So,
and I do know, because you said you are building up a kind of stable of links, aren't you, Catherine? Because you said you've got some links to a divorce lawyer, you've got links to
mediation, accountants.
If you're not the right person, it's like, you might know, it might not be, we don't necessarily start with me, but we might start with something.
Absolutely.
You're going to hear from me.
Thanks, Anne, that'd be lovely, and I'd love to catch up with you. It'd be great.
We'll catch up again soon, and I'm definitely going to pass your details on to other counsellors as well, so that there's somewhere more practical when people are emotionally a little bit ready. So that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Thank you.
And take care then.